Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga for neck and shoulders. And today we are going to work on strengthening the shoulders a bit. And I'm going to give you some options for those of you who might have wrist issues and find that it's difficult to be on hands and knees. We're going to focus a little bit on our Chaturangas. And I know for some of us they can be very hard. So I want to give you some modifications for Chaturangas, but they're wonderful poses to strengthen the shoulders, but also at the same time, it's really tricky because we can also have a tendency to injure our shoulders if we do Chaturanga incorrectly or too many of those. So what I have today, I have a hand towel, and you can also use your yoga strap for this, but for a couple of things that we do today, the hand towel is going to feel just a little bit more appropriate for that. I have my blanket to sit on. You can start this first portion sitting in a chair too, if that feels better for you. We're just going to go through some range of motion work for the shoulders and start to key into those areas. So come down to a comfortable seat and have that hand towel with you. And let's sit nice and tall, and just for a moment, close your eyes and center, come inside, focus. Bring your awareness internally, really removing any distraction that you might have this morning, things that are going on in your life. Let's just table that for the next hour. Those things or obligations will be there when we're finished today. But you've given yourself this precious gift of spending time for yourself this morning in your yoga practice. So really, truly come into the present moment, being aware of your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and bringing that all together this morning with mindful breath. And then just blink your eyes open with a soft gaze. Noticing your shoulders. Let's bring them up toward the ears in that hunched position, and then press them as far away from the ears as you can. Tip your head to the right. And center. Hunch those shoulders up again. Inhale. Exhale, press them down. Nice long neck. Inhale, the head to the left. And exhale, neutral. One more each side. Inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, vigorously press down. Inhale, tip the head. Exhale, center. Breathe in, shoulders up. Breathe out, down. Breathe in to the left. And breathe out to the center line. And then just holding on to that hand towel, bring it out in front of you and pull outward. So you have some tension on the towel and you're focusing on strengthening these muscles, the outside of the deltoid. And I want you to start with a light range of motion, very small. As you inhale, maybe come about halfway up. Exhale, turn to the right. Inhale, come center. Exhale, lower the arms, but keep the tension on the hand towel. We'll breathe in to lift the arms about halfway up. Breathe out to turn. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now you might like to do that the same, or inhale the hands up to about the 45-degree angle. Exhale, turn right. Inhale, center. Exhale, down. Again, up to about 45 degrees. And turn. And center. And down. And if you're feeling up to going higher, inhale all the way up, or any amount you can go. Exhale, turn. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, down. Last one to the left. And down. Now adding a side bend, so lift those arms up any amount that feels okay for your shoulders. Exhale to the right side. Keep that left sitting bone down. Inhale back up. Exhale, lower. Breathe in, raise the arms. So it's okay to be here. This is fine. Really listening to those shoulders this morning. One more each direction. Last time, I'm feeling definitely some work in those shoulders by pulling out on the hand towel. And relax down. Now breathe in, stretch those arms up. As you breathe out, bring that hand towel behind the back of the head, just above the neck. Now notice my elbows are a little bit lower than my shoulders, so I'm not way up here. I'm lowering those elbows and keep the neck long. Inhale to seated cow, so I'm going to tip my head back slightly. Exhale to seated cat and round your spine, looking down toward the belly, curving your back. Inhale, open. You're supporting your head with that hand towel. Exhale and pull it in. So this gives you the opportunity to extend back without letting gravity pull your head back into too much spinal extension, because you have that hand towel to protect the back of your neck. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Inhale up to neutral position. And then exhale, reach the arms up. Inhale. And exhale, they float down. All right, just set that hand towel off to the side for a moment. So we are going to work on the correct position for a Chaturanga. So bring those arms out in front of you like you're in a plank. So the hands are slightly below the shoulders here, not up too high. And the creases of the elbows where they bend, I want you to turn and point them up to the ceiling. So you're rotating that portion of the arm. And then as you inhale, pull the elbows back behind you and squeeze the back. And exhale and push against an imaginary resistance as you come forward. And inhale, bring it back. And exhale forward. Now when we're doing this without any force from the floor, we can come way back behind us with our elbows to work on range of motion. When we do this on the mat, we're going to kind of police that range of motion by just bringing it about right in here and pressing out. So for those of you that want to stay in a seated position and just work on range of motion, you can stay here seated. If you want to bring it up with me to all fours, go ahead and come to your hands and knees. Padding for your knees if you need it. And we'll come first to a nice tabletop. And bring the hands to where you have the fingers nice and spread wide, but tuck your thumbs in just a little bit. And look down at your elbow creases and spin them forward toward the wall that's in front of you. So this involves a little action here of the shoulders. You can also do this up onto the fists, making fists for wrists if you have those wrist issues. And then just ever so slightly, bend your elbows in there where you're bringing them back toward your waist and press up. And just let the breath follow. Keep your spine and your head nice and neutral. As we like to make this a little bit more challenging, we want to bring our knees back behind our shoulders just a little bit more. into a kneeling plank. Spin those elbow creases forward, bend the elbows any amount, and press up. So this is our Chaturanga push-up. We're nicely strengthening the shoulders and protecting them from any strain by keeping the elbows in nice and close to the body. And let's just get 3 more of these. Scoop the abdominals in. And 2 more. And last time, bend those elbows any amount. And come on up. Now, if you're seated, come and join us in a child's pose. So press yourself back and stretch those shoulders, that extended child's pose position. And just feel your lats opening up, your armpits opening up. And then on an inhale, glide yourself forward either to table or to kneeling plank, depending on how far you want to go, dropping your hips down, shoulders are back. Exhale, push your hands forward against the floor and slide back to your child's pose. With an inhale, we're coming forward, brace the spine. Exhale, push back. So the joints that are moving here, of course, are the shoulders. So we're doing a shoulder flexion and extension through the sagittal plane. We're also moving at our hips and at our knees. But for now, the spine itself isn't moving. So we have a nice neutral position. And one more time, inhaling forward. Little tiny bend in those elbows, not too much. And exhale back to child. So now we are going to bend the elbows a little bit more as we do this and add some spinal flexion and extension into it. So as you pick yourself up, bend your elbows and lead with your heart as you glide forward. Lift your tailbone up. You're in a cow. And then as you push back, go through cat. Hunch your back around it and bring your hips back toward your heels. And start to look forward, bend your elbows. You're gliding forward along the mat. And then round that back up. So my spine is now moving through extension, through a back bend, and then through flexion, through that cat position. The elbows are bending to strengthen the triceps, and the shoulders are building strength as well. Let's do 2 more. You can go back to that first option if you need to, of just child's pose and kneeling plank. Or 1 more using that cow and cat-like position. Once you come back to child's pose, relax here and breathe. And then keep your elbows on the mat. Place the palms of your hands together into prayer position in your child's pose. And then bend your elbows to bring your thumbs back behind the back of your neck. And then start to walk your elbows forward any amount on the mat so you can keep opening up through those armpits, through the triceps, and just hold this and breathe. So this stretch is going to help to prepare us for cow face stretch later on through class. It's giving us a nice stretch through the shoulders and through the triceps in a relaxed position. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And 1 more breath, inhale. Exhale completely. And reach your hands back up toward the top of your mat. You can stay here in child's pose for a few more breaths, or if you feel like you'd like to come up to a downward facing dog, we'll lift up through plank, Tuck the toes, slowly lift those hips up, and press your heels down to the mat. You can also take dolphin pose here by dropping down to your forearms so that you're not involving the wrists. So child's pose, down dog, dolphin, 3 more breaths. Still checking in with the shoulders. Last inhalation. And exhale. We'll bring the knees down to the mat. And relax the forehead towards the floor. Just checking in. So we'll prepare to come to the top of your mat into mountain pose. So just take your time, plan the way that you'd like to make it there. You might go through a down dog, through a forward fold, or just come up and stand, making your way up to the top of your mat. So once you're there, I'd like you to find your hand towel and just place it back behind your neck so that it's there for you to grab when you need it. And stand nice and tall, grounded through the feet. The feet can be tight together or hips distance apart, whichever you choose. And then start to sweep the arms forward any amount as you sit into chair, Utkatasana. Then as you inhale and come back up, sweep your arms back behind you any amount. And imagine you're pressing your hands together with a ball behind your back. So you're engaging the backs of the shoulders and the upper back. Then as you come forward into chair, lift your arms a little bit more and imagine you're hugging a ball right in front of you and really tighten your chest muscles. And then come back, hug that ball behind you. So we're creating an imaginary force to activate the muscles a little bit with a deeper connection than we usually do, just going through this range of motion. Let's do 2 more of each. Sit into chair, hug that imaginary ball, and come up, hug it behind you. 1 more, sit, and come up. And then sink down into your chair pose and hold. Fire the muscles of the chest. You're really working them. And then shift your body weight into your left foot. Step your right foot back to warrior 1. And open your arms up to goalpost arms and squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And then come forward to chair. Hug that imaginary tree. Squeeze those muscles. Step your left foot back, warrior 1. Open. And come into chair. Again, your right foot steps back, warrior 1. Squeeze elbows back. Step into chair, hug, create force. And open. Now you can also, as you step in, press your palms together and create force from one hand to the other. So I'm pushing with intention and then open out. And push with intentions. Press in, fire those muscles of the chest and shoulders, and press back. Let's do 1 more of these on each side. So I'm asking you to connect a little bit more with the muscles today for strength versus just range of motion, moving the bones through space. We're connecting with the muscles now. Great. Now step your right foot back. Warrior 1. Hold. So I'd like you to place your left hand to your hip. Your right arm reaches up as you stretch. And then as you come down, just bring your hand to your hip. And you'll notice when you do, your shoulder kind of inwardly rotated. So we'll reach up and stretch. Turn your palm toward your camera or facing away from you. And then as you come up and bring your hand to your hip, turn your palm kind of back behind you the other way. Excuse me, a little froggy in the throat there. So again, palm faces away from you. Palm faces behind you. So I'm going to change this position to adding an option to go behind your back. So as you come up, stretch up, and then sweep that arm behind your back. Let's do 3 more. If that's too much for your shoulder, just bring the hand to your hip. And really connect with a good, strong warrior. Your front knee is bent a nice amount. A good connection into the mat. Great. Now let's reach up. Stretch, stretch, stretch here and hold, and turn your head up toward the sky. Really pulling that shoulder back. Find an openness through your right hip flexor. And then as you come up, bring that hand behind the back and hold it here. Square off your shoulders, or hand can be at your hip. Just 2 more breaths. One more breath. And then release that hand from behind your back. Bring palms to heart center. Step forward into chair and press your palms vigorously together. Squeeze those muscles of the chest. And we'll step our left foot back, warrior 1. We can open here to start, pull your shoulder blades back. And then we'll bring our right hand to our hip. The left arm reaches above the head, palm is facing forward. And then as we come back up, turn your palm behind you to put your hand on your hip. Now if you're already ready to go into that little hammer lock position behind your back, you can do that and go all the way back, or just stay at the hip. Your shoulders can be very different right to left side. So just check in before you go into that big full range of motion to make sure that feels okay for your body today. And you're noticing your warrior 1 position, nice and strong. Hips are squared forward, nice bend into that right knee. And then connect your breathing with this movement. We'll do 2 more. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling to inwardly rotate that arm behind you or at the hip. A really good functional exercise for the shoulder. Now, next time you come up into that side bend, let's hold and turn your head and gaze up. And come back to center. Sweep that arm either at your hip or behind your back and hold here. So this position is what we do in our cow face. Nicely done. So I want you to keep your warrior position the same, foot in front. Take that hand behind your back and reach for your hand towel and hold it up above the head and drape it behind your back. Take your right hand and reach for that elbow and give it a little bit of a pull. You can also press it forward here. So your range of motion might be down here, and that's okay. I want you to just bring this arm wherever it normally feels is all right for you. And then take the other hand, inwardly rotate, reach behind you for that hand towel. You can be using your yoga strap. Walk your hands as closely as you can together behind your back. Make sure you don't feel any stress or pain. And then take a side stretch over toward the right side. So you're really opening up that left hip flexor, opening up the shoulders, working a little bit on balance and stability. 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. And come back up to center. We always let go of the bottom arm first. So let that hand slide down your back to release it and then lower. We can swap hands here as we switch our feet, stepping forward with the left, back with the right, turning the toes out slightly, square the hips, reach that right arm up, let it dangle behind you with your strap or hand towel. Give a little push either from the front or reach back behind and give it a pull to bring it into whatever your range of motion is here. Then very carefully, so as not to strain your shoulder, inwardly rotate the arm, reaching the back of the hand towards your low back. And then find that strap or hand towel and walk your fingertips as closely as you can together. Now, some of you might have enough range of motion here to bind your fingertips. That's great. You can do that as well. I want you to pull against the strap or the hand towel, so you're creating tension. And then side bend your body to open up that right hip flexor. Make sure that front knee is tracking with the ankle. And we're sending the breath into the rib cage, into the belly. 2 more breaths. One more breath. And then bring yourself up, releasing that bottom arm first. And then releasing the hand towel. We'll step back into our chair pose and press the palms together. Good, rise up to stand. We can let go of that hand towel for the moment. Step your feet out nice and wide to set up for warrior 2. So nice wide stance. We'll turn the right foot out and bend the right knee to find our good open hip pose here. And then lengthen through your fingertips. And today we'll turn our palms up to the ceiling. And when you do, roll this portion of your shoulders open. So it's possible just to flip our palms up without affecting our shoulders because we have this ability to rotate at the forearm. But I want you to rotate at the shoulder. Open up the heart. And then pull your arms behind you any amount and breathe. Now let's activate through the legs. So feel your glutes slightly engaging. Your inner thighs, the outer thighs, everything is beautiful and stable here. Now on an inhale, straighten out the front leg, reach the arms any amount above your head, and then exhale back into your warrior 2 position, bringing your arms back behind you, squeezing through the shoulder blades. Breathe it in. And breathe it out. Now maybe you have one shoulder that just comes up part way as you breathe in and breathe out, depending on your limitations. So go where you can go. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. Last one. And hold. Releasing the arms down. You can place them at your hips. And press up, turning that right foot forward. And the left foot turns out. Coming into your warrior 2 on this side, sink down. And then stretch those arms out, reaching through the fingertips. Roll the shoulders back and lift your palms up. Then pull your arms behind you any amount. So you're feeling this wonderful stretch here through the pecs and through the shoulders. Your hands are a little lower than your shoulders are. And then we breathe, inhaling, straighten out that front leg, reach up. Breathe out and find that warrior two with a connection in your shoulders. 3 more. You can also be turning your head over that front leg. One more time, reach up and bend that front knee, pull those elbows back, broaden through the chest, and then relax your hands at your hips, straightening out the front leg, pivot both feet forward. Inhale, pull your elbows back, let your heart lift. Then exhale with a long spine, fold forward into wide leg forward fold. The hands can reach down to the floor. Just let them land somewhere comfortable. You can reach out to your ankles, to your shins. You can have a block in front of you or a chair to reach down to as well. Knees are slightly bent, just a little micro bend, and just enjoy this beautiful stretch down the back side of the body. If you have enough range of motion here to get your forehead down facing toward the earth, you can just let your head relax and allow gravity kind of decompress your cervical spine. You can move your head a little bit from side to side or up and down. Just let those muscles of the neck relax. And we'll stay here 2 more breaths. And then bring the right hand to the center. If you can't touch the floor, have a block or a chair underneath that right hand. Left hand dangles down. We inhale to open out into a twist. Option to wrap the arm behind your back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale down toward the mat. We'll do 1 more on that side before we switch. So inhale, open, twist. Option to reach behind your back. Reach up and reach down, switching hands onto the floor or block. Inhale, open. Option, exhale, reach behind your back. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. 1 more side, breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Both hands come to your hips. If you need to, you can heel toe your feet in a little bit closer, or just use the strength of the back and rise back up. Find a 5-pointed star, stretching up. Turn your heels in a little bit. Bend your knees into goddess squat. Now when you do, I have my palms facing up like I'm holding 2 heavy objects. So I have some work in my shoulders, but I'm also connecting with my lats and upper back muscles. So we'll inhale, reach up to 5-pointed star. Exhale into goddess squat. 2 more, reach up. Bend those knees, pressing them wide. 1 more time. And hold your goddess squat. Feel your biceps connecting, your shoulder muscles. There's a lot of tension in the upper body, but it's good tension. It's working of the muscles, not overly stressing. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Hands come to your hips. Press yourself up to stand. Good, and we'll turn 1 foot forward, whichever foot is the side of the top of your mat. And then we'll bend that knee. We'll reach down toward the floor and push back either to a downward facing dog or to a child's pose. And just check in for a moment. Maybe noticing how far you've come in range of motion of your shoulders since the start of our practice today with those first few exercises. And 2 more breaths. One more breath. Then if you're in down dog, go ahead and drop your knees down to your mat. We'll bring our knees fairly close together as we take a traditional Balasana child's pose by bringing the arms behind your body rather than extending over, with your palms facing up, your feet are toward your heels, and roll those shoulders open and down toward the mat. If you need props here, you can place a block under your forehead or under your seat so you don't have to bend your knees too much. And take a few breaths into the back body. And then we'll transition to a seated position. You might like to have a little cushion to sit on. So we'll be doing some stretching here involving the hamstrings and the IT bands. You might like to have your hand towel also or your yoga strap to assist with those stretches. So first, let's tuck the right leg underneath us a little bit, bending the left knee out in front. We'll reach the arms up, nice stretch. Exhale, turn toward the front leg and open your arms and let that right arm come across the left knee. The left hand can come behind your back to create a second spine and twist and look over the backside shoulder. So as we hold this twist to the left, we'll move through the head to activate the muscles of the neck. So keep your twist where it is, and then look toward the front shoulder or behind it as far as you can. Then look toward the back shoulder. 2 more times, look to the front shoulder and look to the back shoulder. I hear some little crunchy sounds in my ears. That's happened ever since I was running and fell on my head. Yeah, that's another story. Oh, all right. Look over that front shoulder. And then come out of that twist for just a moment. And I'm going to give you an option with this pose to work and to stretch through the hamstring and the IT band. So your choice is to do just what we did one more time, or we can take our hand towel or our yoga strap and toss it under the bottom of your foot. And you are going to hold it with your right hand. So I have opposites. And then tip back on your sitting bones just a little bit so you can pick this foot up off the floor and see if you can extend your leg out to straight. And then pull this leg across the body a little bit. So now we feel this IT band stretching. And then bring the hand behind you and rotate towards the back shoulder with your entire spine. And then look toward the front shoulder. Keep pulling that leg across the midline. Look toward the back shoulder. And to the front. And to the back. Then look straight forward. Bring that leg back to neutral. Now you can bend this knee into your chest, give it a little hug in, or stretch that leg up even more and pull it in toward you with your hand towel. So this is for hamstring. This is just for hip, bringing that knee in toward you. Do the one that feels like your body can handle it today. or anywhere in between there. 2 more breaths. Some of you might be able to remove the hand towel and reach with your hands. 1 more breath. And then bend that knee and release it down. Okay, swap the position of your legs. So your left leg's going to tuck underneath you just a little bit, open that knee out. The right knee will bend in front of you. Take a nice big breath in. Turn to the right side, and your left arm is going to brace across this leg. Now, if that doesn't feel comfortable for your shoulder, you can also just hug it in here. But have a connection. Reach behind you with the right. Turn your entire spine as much as you can to that right side and look back behind the right shoulder. Then hold your twist in this position as we work through cervical rotation. Looking over the left shoulder, that front shoulder, and looking behind. Now, as you do this slow movement through the neck, try not to slump through your shoulder blades. So sit up as tall as you can. That's why I really like sitting on a blanket. It allows me to sit up a little taller because my hips are inherently tight to sit flat on the floor. All right, let's bring the head back to the front. Come out of the twist momentarily. And remember, you can do that sequence 1 more time. Or let's add the IT band stretch. So grab your strap or your hand towel, toss it under the bottom of the foot. You're holding it with the opposite hand. So I have my right foot in front, holding the strap with the left hand. Sit back a little bit. See if you can pick that foot up off the floor. And can you get your leg to straighten? Bring it across the body. So I'm using my arm to give it a nice pull. Then reach that right hand behind you and twist your spine. Look to the back. And look over that front shoulder. And you have a little bit of a connection with your abs here as well. So tighten through your core. Try to be as neutral as you can through your spine. Let's do 1 more, turning the head to look behind. And then look to the front. You can bring that leg forward and bend your knee in toward you and just hug it in, or extend your leg up. Let's take a few breaths here. So maybe for you today, you've lifted the leg a little, so it's not totally bent, but not totally straight. Wherever you feel comfortable in this position. Sit up a little taller and breathe. 3 more breaths. Then bend that knee. Relax it down. Extend your legs straight out in front of you for staff pose. This is called Dandasana. So with staff, sitting tall, I want you to walk your hands back behind your body as much as you feel comfortable, and then roll your shoulder blades together and lift your heart. So already I'm feeling a pretty good stretch in the front of my shoulders, and you may be as well. So your option is just to stay here. There's some pressure in the wrists too, so you might play with how you have your hands turned. You can turn them out a little bit more. That feels better in my wrists to do that. You can also turn them behind you. So not too important as to where the position of your hands is for pose accuracy. It's mostly for comfort. Now you can stay with your seat on the mat or bend your knees and start to press your hips up into a little reverse bridge. This is an upward plank. So Urdhva Dandasana. And then you can lower yourself back down. So depending on range of motion of your shoulders, you might just lift your hips like 2 inches off the mat and back down. If there's any pain at all, don't lift your hands off the mat or your hips off the mat at all. You might also like to go with straight legs, extend them out, peel your hips up into that upward plank. Wherever you want to be today, let's hold and breathe. One more breath. And then slowly lower those hips down. I know that can be really hard on your shoulders, so I hope you found a place where you could work within your limitations. Walk your hands back to the front, reach out long over your legs, and just take a very short forward fold just to give you a chance to rest your shoulders and to stretch the backs of the legs after we activated those hamstrings. Now we are going to prepare for a passive twist on our back. A couple of props that you might need if you want to rest your legs into that twist. You might like to have a couple of blankets or towels so that you can rest your knees over onto them. You don't need to do that, but it's kind of nice too as well. And then you might just like to take your hand towel and toss it over your eyes as we're laying there for a eye pillow, or if you have one at home, you can use that as well. So I'm going to take my prop off to the right side of my mat for this twist. Let's come on down onto our backs. And make sure you have some space out to the side so you can open your arms out like a T. And you can keep your feet on the mat and just drop your knees over to that prop that you have. Or you can start that from tabletop and drop your knees over. Or we can do what's called a rooted twist. So if we do the rooted twist, we are going to take the left knee and wrap it over the right, and then come over into that twist. So your choice of how you'd like to twist here. Once you come into that position and you're nice and relaxed, you can close your eyes, maybe place the eye pillows or your hand towel over your eyes for a moment. And it might not be to keep the light out, but just to create a sense of comfort and a sense of relaxation. And let's just breathe here and check in with our bodies. Check in with the breath. Check in with the brain. And try to clear out any chatter, especially if the chatter tends to be negative. It's so easy when we're working through our yoga practice to say negative things to us, and we don't even really realize we're doing it, but we say things like, oh gosh, I'm so tight. Well, that might be true, but then it becomes a negative thing about yourself. Or you might say, gosh, I used to be able to do it that way, or I wish I could do it that way. So try to find some positive connection here and give yourself some positive reinforcement and congratulation about things that you did today in your practice that were beneficial and that were positive, that were wonderful, that were things that you needed today in your body. And then as we hold this twist, let's take somewhere between 3 and 5 cleansing breaths. So a cleansing breath helps us to remove a little extra CO2 from our lungs. It can tend to be a little bit of the detox for us. So we take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale the breath really forcefully through the mouth. So take as many of those as you'd like. you start to feel a little lightheaded, that's a normal response to the cleansing breath. And then just bring your breath pattern back to a gentle flow. And then prepare to move yourself to the other side. You might be able to do that without removing your eye covering if you have that. If you're in a rooted twist, go ahead and unwrap the legs. You can slide your props over to the other side of your mat. And again, our options are just to keep your feet right on the floor. You can just tip your knees gently over to meet the props. You can bring your knees up to your chest and drop over. It's going to affect the range of motion of your twist. Or you can root, crossing the right knee over the left and drop those knees till they come on to your prop. So also what's important here when we're holding our twist is that your shoulder blades stay on the mat. So if you twist it so far that your free shoulder is floating up and your arm is kind of hanging here in space, this isn't relaxing. So you want to adjust that so you have a nice connection to the mat with both shoulders and with both arms. And to do that, you might need to tuck your hand towel underneath that shoulder there that's the opposite from your knees to have a little bit of connection with the mat. And then just let everything relax and release as we hold our twist. Just do a quick scan head to toe to make sure you're not gripping any muscles in your body. You're letting everything go. And you feel a nice gentle stretch across the pecs, especially on that right shoulder here. With the knees pointing to the left, the thighs and the glutes are heavy. The arms are heavy, completely relaxing into the earth. Allowing your fingertips to slightly curl. You just have relaxed palms. And then when you're ready, start to come into your cleansing breath. Taking maybe 3 or 5, as many as you feel comfortable with. And really inhale deeply to expand the ribs, breathing in through the nose. And let it out forcefully. So you're connecting with your muscles of your core to expel the breath, not just relaxing naturally. Once you've taken as many as you'd like, allow your breath to move back to a normal flow. And then prepare to close into a traditional Shavasana position. So if you're in a rooted twist, unwrap those knees. And as you come up, extend your legs out nice and long, separating your legs a little wider than hips distance apart. Now, if coming into in this position bothers your low back, which sometimes it will, go ahead and rebend your knees, widen your feet a little bit, and allow your knees to drop in and touch one another. And that's very releasing for the lower back. Arms can be still out to the side like a T, or you can tuck them in closer to the midline of your body. Turn your palms up. And maybe lift your heart a little bit more by lifting your upper back up off the floor and roll your shoulder blades together, almost bringing them underneath your body a little more. And then relax back down. And just tune back into the breath. Allow the belly to float up and down with each inhalation and exhalation. Again, check back in to the body. Check back into the brain. Check back into the breath. And checking in specifically to those areas where we paid special attention today, in the shoulders and in the neck. And we'll come into a 3-part breath. So we'll inhale 3 small sips of air through the nose. And exhale through the nose or through the mouth, but not forcefully, just a relaxed exhalation. So as we do this 3-part breath, the first part comes from the low belly. The second part comes from the middle ribs. The third part comes from the heart. And then let the breath go. On your own, 3-part breathing. And let's take one more 3-part breath. And once you've exhaled, come back to a normal breath flow. And there's no hurry to come up off of your mat. If you need more time here today, you can just remain as you are. Otherwise, prepare for some gentle movement by maybe wiggling the toes and fingers. Perhaps stretch the arms above your head to a nice full body stretch. Or you can hug your knees into your chest and create some circles, massaging into the lower back. And then when you feel ready to rise up from your reclined position, choose the way that works best for your body, perhaps rolling over to your side first, or just rocking forward and back along your spine until you have enough momentum to bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. Once you're there, create a long spine grounding into your sitting bones. Allow your head to float just gently above the neck, almost as if it were weightless, like a helium-filled balloon. And we'll take a breath together, expanding the arms out and up. Press the palms of the hands to heart center. And the light and joy that resides within me honors and respects the light and joy in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today for class. If you can hang with me for a minute or two, we'll chat briefly. If not, I hope to see you tomorrow for cardio pump. I'll have a good cardio strength workout. Thank you so much, everyone.